Yo, what is good? My anime faithful, what is good, yo? So, we have seen quite a bit of interesting things in this show, but the one crazy thing is over now, which I thought it was kind of lame. Only in the case of like, she goes that much out of her way to do something, to get this bow or whatever, and to come to find out that, if soon as it got destroyed in this garbage thing, sooner or later she would have just turned back, seemed kind of a waste of time, right? Like, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it may have like not gotten destroyed, and then you would be just stuck like that forever, and it like gets put up somewhere or something. That would have been messed up, but to know that it was going to the dump and it was going to get destroyed, if they only knew that once that happened, it would be a better thing than what they were going to go through in the trash place, then I think this episode would have been a lot more, less less crazy. I don't know how to even explain it, man. This show just does whatever it wants, and I love it. It's hilarious for it. But at the same time, seeing seeing all that take, wow, they really nerfed that. Seeing it take place and all this stuff happening, and we go back to the apartments once she gets her body back, and there's like someone in the house with her trying to get the bow from her. I was just like, what in the heck am I watching? Like, literally, this guy is doing all of that to then try to beg and plead just to be like, no, don't hurt me. Like, I'm not a bad guy. That looked pretty sick, even though I got hit afterwards. But now that we know what the heck is kind of going on, we can pretty safely say that the guy, what? That's so dumb. The guy who was pushing into the house and trying to do something was, I think, someone who knew that he had, that the cop guy, our guy that literally freaking lost this piece of evidence, right? He thought he gave it all up, but somehow some of it was missing, the crossbow. And who else knew about the crossbow being at his place but somebody that he had contacted, or that at least should have known where the evidence was being held in the first place after being taken in. So that was weird because they come and arrest that guy, and it looks like he's like, I just want some money, and I need that crossbow, and I can make a killing, So I kind of lost who and why that guy was, and that's why I'm trying to put it all together why he would be there or how he would have known besides being the person that got the phone call and was told about it being there. I don't see anybody else knowing about it. So, I mean, unless the people that they took it from somehow knew him or like saw he was a cop, asked him his name, and found out where he lived. I don't know. But regardless, all that takes place and happens, and then what we come to find out is everybody who kind of everybody who kind of is in this situation or in this scene of changing, how the cops are working with, this belief that magic actually exists, kind of changes a lot. When the chief detective is like, "Hey, go check out the dead body and tell me if there's any type of magic that's been done on it." And what I'm talking about is someone running for president and presidency and getting shot during it, but coming out to be one of the people who are, not from this world. And he was some guy that was just an average Joe working behind a register at a convenience store. And next thing you know, he has a gun and he's shooting someone who's running for, whatever reason. But we get to the body and find out that it was already dead and it was being controlled by some type of magic, which does already point the finger back to the guy with with the red jacket, and he's just like this enigma at this point. He lost an arm during the battle. He still kind of escaped regardless of that, and it just puts together such a interesting narrative of how powerful or crazy these guys can be at times when it's people from another world who's been living for quite some time, and not only have they been living for quite some time, they're like hired guns, they're hired killers, and that's the type of stuff that really gives me the feeling that we're just getting like close to understanding what the heck is going on, like why stuff is transpiring and what could happen in the future. And I like that stuff because it feels like he should be very important because every time we've seen something kind of transpire with the unnatural, he's kind of been the one person we can look back to and be like, oh yeah, that guy. That guy was there and that guy did that. He clearly is involved somehow. I like seeing that on a character. So if that is the case, that they do that with him and his story grows from it, I will be pretty happy because it'll be uh, a smart way of going about it. But if it's not and it's someone else doing it, they could still win me over on the fact that he may be gone or he may just have done these things from much further away, because knowing that he has two people on him that can actually damage him, and somehow one can shoot him with the gun that he didn't know had any chance of actually knowing where he was fully, um, that stuff has to be on his mind. That stuff has to be in his plan. So either he's trying to pull out the police to go after this trail he's leaving, or like our girl said, we need to go back to the beginning of why this even happened to this guy, someone that had the votes of, even cops to be a president, because they saw him doing serve 4 years of different, I think like a mayor in Seattle and something else somewhere else. He did 2 years in two different things that are, very big for people to understand if he did a good job or not. And clearly he did pretty good to have a lot of people on his side. And then next thing you know, he gets shot. And the first thing our girl thinks is, which out of the other like the two competitors, would benefit the most out of someone from the other world shooting, or like causing some type of interruption that gives off this whole sign of like, wow, these these aliens, as we saw, even a cop was going around saying it under his breath like he just didn't care. um, Everybody's on edge about it. A lot of people want the outsiders gone from the start of the immersion, and now we got these people from the other world straight up taking out others who this cop also tells us that his family was taken out by these other world people. So there's some hurt individuals by these Samaritans, I think they called them, that have transferred over. I call them elves because they have elf ears. um, but because of that, it gives off this notion that whatever kind of transpires anytime after any elsewhere, it's going to be I mean, not just their fault, but other ones that weren't involved. Everybody's going to get the blame because it's your people, like that's how really people see race all the time. It's if it's a certain race that did it, that means every single person of that race now is guilty for some reason. That's how some people see these things work, and they did it brilliantly with this guy saying it the way that, almost as if I thought the girl did it. Like she must have committed the crime, shot the gun, came to the crime scene to then investigate it, and she's the secret hit woman. Like that's how confident this man said and called her an alien, which is racist to her. So it's getting interesting. It's getting really interesting, and it made a lot of sense to think that there's a human still running and a guy from the other world still running, that I'm pretty sure the human would benefit most well if he kind of just hops on that train of hate of, hey, this guy is with those people from the other world and I'm with you, so guess whose side I'll always be on when it comes to picking the other world or picking us, So, and I'm not sure if we completely dominate them in the spectrum of how many of us compared to them, because there's still some of them living on their own side of the world, which I think is another good talking point for this show, is like, oh, by the way, we could still go to their side and see how they live, like that's just one thing they can do in this show, and I love that that's still even a option that they have. So I hope they go with it. And not only that, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I apologize. These videos are coming out late. I had a really, really late night, and man, do I feel like crap. Like, I didn't drink or anything, but I feel like I still need to sleep. So I'm going to be dropping these videos relatively right next to each other, and I hope that's not like too much of a bother for you guys. But if you also like it when all the videos come out like minutes within each other, let me know and I can do that more often than waiting for, like almost an hour and then bringing it back up. So that being said, have an amazing day, night, evening, and I will definitely talk to you in the next one. Peace.